All right, we're going to try this again. This one might be a little bit more
concise.
Concise. We might be able to nail this a little more quickly. All right, so Gamergate stuff's been rolling along. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. A bit of a roller coaster. What with people getting ever so slightly scammed here by the whole King of Paul incident with the J.C. Denton Facebook post where J.C. Denton supposedly was going to hire shills to drive us all apart, and everybody was fantasizing about a guy with a top hat and a cane and a monocle,
maybe lots of computer monitors that aren't our games.
Sending Smithers out to hire drones from Sector 4B to troll us here on Gamergate. It was an interesting little conspiracy theory. It proved we're all a little bit too ready to buy what might be, to be perfectly honest, a class warfare narrative. I mean,
yeah.
Who among us has never looked at somebody with a little more money and felt a little bit of envy? It's easy to look at a wealthy media mogul who happens to own a bunch of publications that call you a dirty, neck-bearded shitlord
and want them to be corrupt.
Yeah,
to be manipulating
of course. We'd love for it to all be so cut and dried, wouldn't we? That would have been amazing.
Yeah,
and then,
totally.
King of Paul can swoop in like Batman and just save us. It's unfortunately the nature of this whole Gamergate and the gamers within it, the gamers talking about this issue. We like heroes. We like big, larger-than-life characters.
Who come stomping in and declare something catchy.
Like the Kool-Aid Man, every single one of them just, oh yeah, right through the wall with the brand new information.
And then a James Bond quip like, sorry about your hat.
Yeah, precisely. Some hilarious thing, and they whip off the sunglasses. We've kind of become indoctrinated as a culture to accept that sort of thing, and it makes us really a lot more likely to get scammed.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it. E-celebrities, they might seem like reporters. People like Total Biscuit, for example, can really fool you. Total Biscuit takes the time, he researches this stuff. He does some reporting, but he's a games critic, and games critics, like movie critics, like restaurant critics,
are only really responsible for knowing about games.
And they're reporters.
Oh,
it's something that people forget, but critique is part of the reporting. It's part of the fourth estate. So.
Right.
So it's important to remember that if somebody isn't necessarily a professional, that professionalism can't really be expected from them. Amateur e-celebrities are not held to any sort of ethical standards.
If I were writing a blog, I wouldn't expect people to think that I'd done all the homework necessary to voice some opinions.
Right, and that is to some extent what we're in this for, right? Is we're trying to get journalism and posting your friends' blog posts separated. These are two different concepts.
Please.
And so whether we're going after our own negative e-celebrities, that's to some extent how this entire group of people has been manipulated.
Oh, people bringing a bunch of negative attention onto themselves?
Exactly. Unfortunately, that's the enemy tactic, and we have to remember that the whole point here is that the pathos, the invective that we gamers like to throw around casually, is interpreted by the world at large as harassment.
Yeah.
And so people are going to come in, they're going to draw a lot of negative attention on purpose, and we're only fueling that narrative. Realize, as much fun as it is to make fun of John McIntosh, every time you tweet something against him, you are actually kind of raising his score with the people who were calling you names and calling us all dead and saying that we were misogynist, racist assholes to begin with. Remember, they consider every time that one of these trolls gets a rise out of us, they consider that to be a win.
Right, a display of triggered childish behavior. Like, look, they're childish. They're having a tantrum because we bothered them.
Yeah, so unfortunately, as much as really, really hilariously insane as a lot of the guy's stuff is, I worry that you guys are just getting him his next job. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's probably feathering his nest quite nicely. I think he's figured that out. I think if you really look at his stuff, he's just reaction trolling now, and that's really unfortunate because taking the piss out of somebody is great, but if they can manipulate that to their own advantage, then it's
who hasn't been baited into a headshot at some point?
Yeah, it's the troll arm race.
Yeah.
When it comes right down to it, somebody's always going to figure out how to adapt to your trolling and then troll you back with it. That's why we like it out there on the anonymous internet, is because you can see the quick, almost genetic evolutionary interplay of strategies.
Absolutely.
Just like on the fly. all that crazy social strategy stuff that, to be perfectly honest, I'm not really that good at. But I do enjoy it, and I like seeing all of the kind of really active, almost Bond movie like activities that go on.
Yes.
It's interesting. It keeps me involved to know that there are secret meetings in various chat rooms and IRC channels and secret
There
identities.
are secret governments going on, inside Gamergate, where people are mostly just conspiring to have clubhouses.
Oh yeah, well of course, like anything that happens in the anonymous world, people are going to naturally group together ideologically.
Yeah.
You're going to have tribes. They're just going to be ideological tribes rather than based on physical appearance. Right?
Based on where they group. I'm not a Redditor, so I don't spend time on Reddit, but that doesn't. But that's a group.
Right, exactly, and more to the point, even in truly anonymous situations, even in truly distributed things like the chans, you're going to have people who come together just because they think in similar ways. They're going to be drawn.
Yeah.
And there's no avoiding that. I mean, human beings are prone to tribalism, and it's interesting to see it played out until it hurts somebody, until it results in people getting actually hurt. You know, I mean, I understand this is a full contact sport, and when people fall over, they're going to get hurt. But it's important to remember not to hound people for being wrong. If they don't have fact checkers, if they don't have 20 years worth of experience in identifying frauds and stuff like that, then yeah, everybody can get scammed. I've been scammed. I've been scammed out of thousands of dollars. So I've experienced that firsthand. It's not the end of the world. Basically, if you're playing life well with a little bit of forethought, you just don't bet more than you can afford to lose.
Exactly. And then if
pretty
you
simple.
get scammed, it's, well, you took that risk.
Yeah, it's a hit to your pride, but ultimately, isn't that kind of the great thing about trolling, about the anonymous environment, is that you can just go ahead and take those hits to your pride and find out your true capabilities, and get your prejudices and your weaknesses and all of that drawn out of you forcefully.
Just get some friends to point them out for you.
Right. That's, to me, that's the greatest psychological purpose of the anonymous internet and of pseudonymity and all of that sort of lovely stuff. You can just have all of that derived out of you, and you can really see yourself in the way that you only can when other people present you.
Absolutely. There's so many parts of yourself you're going to overlook.
Right, and you just get all that ego beaten out of you, which is nice and healthy. I wish that more people could see it that way. I think a lot of the harassment claims are people who are very deeply tied to their egos, and so they don't understand that people aren't trying to say that they're not experiencing pain. It's just that the pain that they experience when somebody tells them they suck at video games and uses invective language, it isn't any greater or more important than the pain anyone else has felt just because of
for other things that have caused them to feel pain.
Even if, say, perchance they may have experienced a slightly more protected upbringing due to parental wealth in certain cases.
Yeah.
In a lot of these cases, it really does seem to come down to that. And I hate to say that, but it's...
as a sheltered suburban girl, I can't really speak for or against.
Yeah, it's all a matter of degree, and the people who push the narrative of privilege will happily show you a chart, a really disturbing chart that shows you exactly where you are on the privilege chain. And I just don't enjoy any of that. I don't choose to.
On the other hand, one bullying is as hurtful as the next comparatively. Like when you really...
Right, but of course it's the difference between bullying and getting your feelings hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
See, that's sort of the problem. Is I really seriously, actively dislike bullying. It's one of my least favorite things on the planet Earth.
On the other hand, you withstand getting your feelings hurt tactically pretty well when you go into the trolling pits.
It's the entire purpose of the anonymous internet seems to be to help people discern what is them getting their feelings hurt and what is them being bullied.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is, nobody can really bully you on 4chan.
Because you can always sign out.
Right, just log the crap off. I mean,
you're not at school. It's not where you have to be.
Nobody's forcing you to go on 4chan, so nothing that's done to you there it doesn't fit the definition of bullying.
That's why we look into harassment when it's on like your personal work site.
That's why doxing matters. Is there's supposed to be like this
barrier.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you can go in there and you can say terrible things and you can have terrible things said back to you and you can experience that feedback loop and get those experience points and level up. But then you step back into your real life where people who might not understand.
Yeah.
And I really hate to see that all brought out into the light. That's one of the other things here is, of course, people have said stupid shit on the internet. Jesus
What the
Christ,
internet
man.
is for.
Yeah, if I ever really want to feel deep and profound shame, I usually just check my social media history for like a year prior to the current moment. Yeah, that's always
See other
like,
stuff.
oh, I was such an idiot. Like,
like back in May, I felt such strong things about
exactly. And so I know it's tempting to go after high-profile targets. God, they're tempting, and some of them are just they're asking for it. It seems like, but that's not the way to
If they're
win
asking
over.
for it, they gotta ask for it in the troll pits, or we shouldn't.
That's not the way to win over the hearts and minds of the neutrals who are looking. The simple fact of the matter is that people are watching this, and the damning argument that the people trying to shut the whole discussion down, who just don't want it to even be talked about, just let there be this criticism that says that you're all a certain way and don't fight back against it. You know, they claim that the discussion is making gamers look bad, and I think there's an easy way to avoid that. We just
Not be bad.
We just make gamers look good.
Exactly.
It's a simple matter of you can't control what other people do, but the majority of people are probably going to work in their own self-interest. We're gamers, we want better games, and the easiest way for us to get better games is to demand them. So somebody comes in and they say, hey, we want games to change, and we say, okay, but we play them. We also want them to change. I bet we could agree on so much if we would
we'd like to change about games, we'd like to add to games, things we've put in our perfect game.
Yes,
Every gamer's got a perfect game.
Yeah. There are 100 times as many independent game developers as there were 10 years ago. Easily 100 times. Maybe 1,000. I don't really know. I don't count. Because you want to do it yourself.
Yeah, right. Everyone's got a perfect universe inside of them. They'd love to play with other people.
And as a person who is great at sitting down in a chair and clickety-clacking on a keyboard and not particularly good at going to the right parties or figuring out which, do I go to Seattle or San Francisco or any of that? I'd honestly just rather work on the games. As far as I'm concerned, Gamergate is one of the most amazing things that's ever happened. There's no way that I can praise what all of you are doing without it being in my own self-interest. I'm an independent game developer. I'm bad at PR. My entire career, I've faced a wall of people who aren't interested in what I'm selling, and I don't know why. I have long suspected that there might be reasons. I don't know if I've ever been on any sort of blacklist or any sort of whitelist, but I know that nobody has ever written about my products, and that Gamergate has given me my first hope ever that I'll be able to use an objective system of quality measurement in order to create a product that people are going to want to buy.
That'd be great.
Yeah, now that's really what this is all about to me, and I really do want to stress that. If anyone is out there trying to arrange for an objective system by which I can know whether or not gamers enjoy my products and whether or not they want more of the same kind of thing, thank you. That is amazing. Yeah, we're bad at cocktail parties. We don't have the first idea of who's important and who we're supposed to impress and what to say.
My comedy generally denigrates to impressions.
Yeah, I have a nasty tendency to say the same joke over and over again. So, I'm not necessarily going to ever impress people high up in some elite media conglomerate into thinking that my game needs their help. I have everything to gain from what you guys are doing, and so all I can say is thank you. I don't know. I mean, when you say something nice about someone in Gamergate, every single person continuing the conversation, even the people using the hashtag to decry the activities of others using the hashtag, even the people trolling it, even the people posting stuff about ants. The people who were posting the other Gamergate.
Everything G-gate.
Yeah, exactly. Even those people, technically, just by getting anybody at all interested in this, you are doing me a great favor. And I wish that I had some other way to repay it other than making video games. But alas,
we'll make you games.
Yeah, that's all we do. So it's all we can do. But don't worry about getting scammed. Everybody's got a different role. Some people are there to be critical. Some people are there to be super suspicious, super cynical. As developers, I don't know that we would want that. It's really a lot better for us to be open-minded, sort of dreamy.
We're trying to produce dreams of ours and other people's together.
Exactly. Get people into an escape state where they don't necessarily have to experience the negativity of stress and that sort of thing. That's our goal. And so we can't really just go around doubting everyone all the time.
No, our job is to suspend everyone's disbelief for a little while.
Maybe if we made a different kind of game. Maybe someday we'll make games about like crime or spying or
That'd
something.
be a lot of fun, but
yeah.
not this time.
Yeah, but we instead focus on things like philosophy and religion and art and that sort of stuff. And so those are more open-minded and sadly a bit more naive ways of looking at the world. So certainly people looking at the world like us we're going to get scammed. Other people, if you can handle the cynicism, then
help people like us not get scammed.
Yeah, then I absolutely appreciate that. It really does come down to, everybody really should just be betting what they can afford to lose. If you're super against betrayal, if you just do not like being deceived, if you don't enjoy that experience, then I encourage you, absolutely check every lead. I depend on people.
Guard your heart.
Mm-hmm. If you're just a little bit happy-go-lucky like I am, then I'm gonna go around believing people. It's got a cost, but it's not the end of the world. People will deceive you a certain amount of the time, but it's just a statistics game like everything else, and you can win at it.
But you're happier believing that most people mean what they say.
Yeah, I choose to assume ingenuity, and I let other people assume disingenuity. So, yeah, so all of you rock. You're all amazing. I could get specific, but I don't know how to do that without just listing everyone I've ever spoken to on hashtag. It's great that we all have different roles. I'm really fantastically impressed when I see people organizing patrols. I like seeing the people who just rush the enemy bullies.
Yeah.
I really enjoy seeing that. I like the people who aren't even afraid to just hit enemy bullies with a logic shoulder.
Or the natural reporters who just like collect all the evidence that they've been bullying everyone else, and this argument is something they've used over and over again. I really like seeing those go by.
Yeah, the meme makers, the makers of infographics, the makers of artwork.
Oh, the Vivian James stuff has been beautiful lately, guys.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, of course, I mean, it's going to keep getting better as more and more people are inspired. That's the amazing thing here. I truly believe, and maybe this is an arrogant or presumptive thing to say, but I truly believe that the artistic talent is on the side of free expression. And that, it's one of those, it may seem like a syllogism, but I really think in this instance that that we have that advantage. I hope that that's true. It seems, take for example, there's a Vivian James knockoff character.
The alternate that's an exact, line for line, curve for curve copy, color shifted to be a totally acceptable blonde girl in pink.
Oh, let's not even go into the racial or social implications. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's just telling that rather than believing in themselves and their ability, being inspired
creating a new mascot for themselves.
Create a mascot for themselves that means as much to them as Vivian James means to the supporters of Gamergate. They just ripped off something that Gamergate thought of, and I hate to say it, but
embarrassing.
Yeah, a lot of just some of the stuff that I've seen. I have a great respect for this media. It's probably the most important thing in my entire life, and really my behavior over the years kind of holds out that I, for some reason, think the games are more important than everything else. And I really don't think that anybody ought to be able to tell people who've devoted their entire lives to playing, reporting on, making videos about, making art for, or making games, what we have to do in order to get media coverage that's essential in order to get funding to make our projects happen. So thank you to everyone who is trying to create a direct connection between gamers and developers. That is the greatest thing that could ever possibly happen. And I really absolutely hope that you win. Your win will be a win for me and for us, and I hope for everybody.
As complete an industry circle as we can make.
Right. Anything else that you wanna throw in? I've certainly hit my points.
I really love to thank all the Not Your Shield people that have gone by. I've seen an amazing variety of people, some really beautiful ladies coming out to say that they are gamers and approve. Because so many of us play games, and we shouldn't put up with anyone saying anything about us because we like to pass our time with interesting, logical pursuits.
Yeah, and, Not Your Shield, you guys are amazing. I cannot believe the stuff that you've put up with.
Seriously.
It's amazing to me that I don't see more cases of people from that group, raging out. You guys are incredibly thick-skinned. You're fantastic trolls, and I am always impressed to see that stuff.
Guys.
Anyway, keep strong. Gamergate is amazing and it's important. So
Bye.
thank you for listening.